when HSBC and UBS were caught in money laundering, and of course they said it was junior level of officials and all of that, they were fined more than $1 billion, and their banking licenses were threatened to be cancelled. So we can't let this argument drift off into an argument about people's cultural habits of tax evasion. This is a fundamental issue about whether the banking system and the financial system is being misused to launder money. And money laundering is a serious threat.
Let me get Mr. B.M. Singh to react, because I think he made that point about the cultural transition really, as it were. Mr. Singh, the failure lies squarely at our regulatory authorities, at our tax authorities. I think that's basically what Rajeev Chandrasekhar is saying. What's the RBI doing? What is what are tax authorities doing? What is CBI doing if it comes to this?
Oh, but we are doing a lot of things.
I'm talking about the Financial Intelligence Unit, for example. I think there is a Financial Intelligence Unit that is supposed... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. What we have in place, as you may know, is a set of regulations which authorize or to make it mandatory for all such organizations where, say, property transactions are there, where deposits are made, where certain expenditure or a certain limit is made, to send information to our department, which is collated and sent off to the concerned department officer and used for audit purposes when required. Only thing, like you mentioned, Form 60, a lot of them are filing Form 60 saying that we don't have a permanent account number. So what the FM has done this time is that as far as the property over a particular amount is concerned, he says, I will levy a 1% TDS, surcharge, TDS, which has its own practical problems. But what that means is that once a surcharge like that or a TDS is levied, he has to have a permanent account number.
But how can, sir, the point, how can only 42,800 people in India have an income of over 1 crore? That figure itself seems laughable. I'll just like get Abhay Aima, when you come in on that, does that seem laughable?
Yeah, it does, and it raises questions like which are politically sensitive as to why a farmer who earns over 30 lakhs or even 20 lakhs per annum is considered a poor farmer. Why is he not taxed?
No, but he's not a tax evader. So let's, leaving aside even that policy, leaving aside the farmers who are out of the loop, exporters or whatever the other ones left out,
but
even
those are
given the current
loopholes
thing.
That you leave. Those are
because we're talking about tax evasion specifically.
Black money.
No, but where does the cash transactions take place?
There's a very simple solution to it. You do implement Aadhaar on a war footing, it is the best investment any government would have ever done. The returns on that will be 5 times or maybe 50 times than what you spend on it. If every political setup and the system wants to change it, if you look at Aadhaar with biometrics, all that you're talking of today, 80% of it disappears. So I see no reason why everyone should drop everything and concentrate on that, and if you really have the will to do it, but that will include a lot of people who don't want to be included.
I think that's really the point. If we have the will to do it, we can crack down in many other ways.
No, I think if for every transaction, like the government has introduced 1% TDS on all property, and if you want to reclaim that 1%, you have to file a tax return. And otherwise, and 1% is huge on property transactions. So in the same way, if you introduce 5% TDS on all transactions that take place through a bank, automatically at least the government is going to get 5%. If you want that 5% back...
But the bank is evading current rules. So
no, I know, but I'm saying that on every transaction you have to put 5%. They cannot evade the fact that you have to deduct TDS. What are the banks doing if they are right, is that I'm not looking at whether there's a PAN card or not. I'm seeing that if up to 50,000 rupees, so please deposit only 49,000, and I'll take 30 days for you, 49,000 multiplied by 30 days. So they are going around minor rules. But all this will finally end up with small sums of money. I'm just talking about, look at what UK has done. UK has said is if you are not a citizen who's resident and you don't have to pay taxes, I will still charge you £30,000 a year for staying in England. Now if we take 10,000 rupees from even 30% of our population, say 10,000 rupees a year, you get 3,000 crores. Just tell everybody, every year you have to file a return and pay 10,000 bucks, and we don't have to look at you. And that becomes 3,000 crores.
Finally,
but, you know, there are minor things which the government can do and stop all this.
No, the minor things still evade. As I said, final words, Naresh Gujral, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, Rajeev, first with you. Are we evading the big fish? Is that really the problem here? We're not looking at the elephant in the room, but we're going after the tinkering, the nuts and bolts, etc.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree. I think the issue is that the banking system in India must be credible, must be rock solid. There must not be even an iota of suspicion about how they handle what they handle. They are the cornerstone of our financial system, and if there is even an iota of doubt or culpability anywhere in that system, they must be held to account. I completely disagree that if that this is something that is isolated and is restricted to some low-level manager. A low-level manager in a bank functions as a result of a corporate culture. So there is no way that we can allow this to be just brushed aside or brushed under the carpet as some cultural issue or some, Indian heritage issue. This has to be looked into. They have to be held accountable, and if they're innocent, they should be let go. But otherwise, banks must be held to the gold standard of operating under the laws of India.
And as I said, these are three of the biggest names, so it's in their interest to clear themselves. And it would be perhaps unfair if just some junior officials are targeted and the real questions are not answered. As I said, all three banks said they will have inquiries, so let's wait and see the results. But thank you all very much for joining me tonight. Black money, I think we'll be debating this in years to come until this political will. The election system of funding doesn't change, nothing else is likely to change in this. Let's just move to our other news stories. And of course, the tragic voices today of CRPF Jawans grieving the loss of their comrades spoke out today on why the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister didn't bother to come to a wreath-laying ceremony in Srinagar in their memories. They said, "We feel orphaned. Why is it that we are armed with lathis to fight terror?"